How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing fantastic, having a great day so far. In case you missed it, this whole last week or so of Warzone has been kind of a roller coaster because the last update we got was Season 5.5 or Season 5 Reloaded. There was a bunch of stuff that just got broken in good ways and bad ways, what have you, but there was a ton of stuff that just went wrong. Of course, the one I talked about the most was the Jack Devastator kit for the Reclaimer. By the way, that got removed from the game, but it got re-added not too long ago, so it is back in the game. You can use the Reclaimer, thank God. But there were just so many things this update that just really broke. The snake shots did come back for a little bit, even though they weren't as strong as they usually are. They were pretty good and they were a great secondary. They were really good, actually. Of course, the Jack Devastators, we had rapid fire not working. We had akimbo not reducing damage on a lot of guns. There was just a lot of really wacky things. And while most did get fixed, there are two, notably the Lockwood 680 and the Riveter shotgun, that got changes that I think are probably bugged. They're not intentional, who knows? I just don't think so. And they're still strong and they haven't been adjusted back to their normal states. So that's what this video is for. So let's talk about the Riveter and then let's talk about the Lockwood 680. So with the Riveter, what exactly changed? Well, in case you've been living under a rock, the Riveter with the ball ammo is back in full force now. Now, I don't think it's as strong as it was when it first got buffed, like, oh gosh, was that in Modern Warfare 3's version of Warzone? I can't really remember, but it got buffed and it was crazy, crazy good. And now it is really, really strong. I don't think it's as good as it used to be because there's still some nerfs to it that have applied like it's spread, but this is a crazy good shotgun now. And while it does have a few things holding it back, its time to kill and its potential for damage is just kind of absurdly ridiculous. So with the Riveter with ball ammo, what exactly changed in particular? Well, the ball ammo, traditionally you shoot 3 balls or 3 pellets, and that's still the case, but before this update, you were only being capped at 2 pellets or 2 balls worth of that damage, and now that's been bumped up to 3, so you get more damage per pellet, and also you get 3 pellets worth of damage. Before, it was basically not really worth using as much as Incendiary, because even though you did more damage per ball or pellet, it was only multiplied by 2, so you didn't have as much damage, but now it's 3, so it's way better. And the time to kill values here, even though they're chest, stomach is pretty similar. It's going to deal a little bit less damage, but the time to kill really doesn't change drastically from what I could tell. And the potential here for time to kill and damage is kind of absurd. I mean, just look at those potential values. It's absolutely insane. This is 100% unintentional in my eyes. There's no way they made them this strong. And even though they are really strong and they have potential there, I want to say that they're not super consistent at times. Like, they work, but because there is spread and you only have 3 of those pellets or balls, it can be a little inconsistent. So you're thinking, why didn't I just melt this guy at this distance? Well, there is a little bit of spread to take into account, especially if you're tax dancing and just don't use the iron sights, of course. There's a little bit of spread. It can get a little wonky and you might be hitting arms and stuff. So it may not always kill this quick in every single range. Just keep that in mind. But yes, the potential is absolutely there. If you want to know the build I've been rocking for this gun, this is sort of my blueprint I started with. And the reason I'm focused so much on all these attachments is because Modern Warfare 3 shotguns have bad sprint to fire speed, and that's kind of a big no-no for me. So I tend to focus on that as well as having a good tac stance spread, and this is what I came up with to start. If you notice I'm not rocking the 30 round mag, that's because I'm rocking the X10 grip instead. If you want, take off the X10 grip, put on the 30 round mag. I've been using this mainly on solo, so it doesn't bother me too much to have only 15. Or you can even put on the suppressed barrel or the long barrel, even though I don't think you need it because this already has a ton of good range. Now, I am rocking the laser light instead of some of the other ones that may have a little bit better tac stance spread, because this one in particular helps a lot with your sprint to fire speed and gives you a decent boost to your spread. That's why I landed with these attachments, but of course, feel free to kind of switch them up. So enough about the Riveter. Now let's talk about the next bad boy, this update that got a pretty big buff, and that is the Lockwood 680. So what changed with this one is it seems like the body multipliers kind of got a little wonky, and then the damage per pellet also increased. So there's something not quite right here, but essentially you deal 60 damage base per pellet up close in its max damage range, which is pretty damn strong. Now, normally this isn't a huge deal because usually with this gun, you're capped at 4 pellets no matter what, if you're hip fire or tac stance. This is one of the few exceptions to the rule of aim down sights versus hip fire. This one did the same damage regardless, but now it's been bumped up to 5 pellets like the others. What that basically means is, if you can do math, if you're fully tac stance or aim down sights in your max damage range, you can one pump people now. You deal enough damage over 300, as long as you hit stomach and up, to basically one pump people out of existence as long as you're aim down sights or fully tac stance. Before, you could only do that with headshots. Now it's across the body minus lower legs. Not only that, but of course these changes are basically across all their damage ranges. So your 2-shot range for this used to be around like 6.3, I think was the range for it. That's been bumped up to about 8.9. So this gun is starting to kind of approach the Reclaimer pre-nerf, like Modern Warfare 3's Prime Reclaimer, in terms of its 2-shot potential. potential, because that's pretty far with just the base gun. Of course, you can use the long barrel to get closer to 10 meters. So this shotgun is no joke. You get a great 2-shot range, and you get a 1-shot potential basically across the body except lower legs in its first damage range. It's pretty nutty. There are things though that kind of keep it in check. First of all, it is a pump action. It's kind of a movement shotgun unless you're a guy that like sits in corners and waits around a doorway. Most of the time using this, you're going to have to move, and you're going to have to move well. And the thing I like about this one is it has a great rate of fire with the express bolt on it. So that's something I definitely recommend using, of course. But this just might be the better pump action shotgun now of the game, even though the Marine SP is a little more consistent and it has a great, like, insane 2-shot range and a really tight spread. It's a lot more clunky to use. This one's a little bit better, although I would argue this one is still kind of clunky simply because its sprint to fire is not the greatest. So again, with the build, this is what I've been rocking, and we're going to focus on tac stance spread as well as the sprint to fire spread. You can rock the sawed-off stock if you want a little bit better movement speed overall and just more agility overall, but the sprint to fire speed boost from this compared to the other attachments I have here is pretty similar. It's just that with these here, I have a little bit more of a tight and consistent spread. That's why I went with this option here instead of rocking the sawed-off stock. So there you have it. Those are the 2 shotguns I think that are unnoticed as of now. Who knows? I haven't checked the Trello lately, but they probably will get nerfed at some point. They aren't working as intended. There's no way this was intentional. So I just thought I'd let you guys know so you can try them out and see how they feel. Overall, I wouldn't get used to these. They're definitely not intentional, and they're going to be going back to their normal selves at some point, I'm sure. It's just a matter of when they see this video or someone who makes a build on one of these. It's going to get noticed at some point, but I figured I'd have to let you guys know and just kind of get the word out there. I don't think the Riveter should be this strong. The Lockwood 680, I mean, honestly, they could just tone down the damage in its first range to not 1-shot. And honestly, I'd kind of be okay with it. But overall, yeah, these are definitely not intentional. Don't get used to them. Enjoy them while you can, I suppose. So that's pretty much it. As always, though, I want to know down below in the comments, what do you guys think about these changes to these shotguns? Of course, they're probably unintentional, but do you think they may be intentional? And what did you enjoy the most when Season 5 Reloaded happened? What was the thing that you were enjoying the most using when it was at its most broken? Let me know down below in the comments, and with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.